Right now I'm going to pick up one of my friends from high school. He's actually a sports photographer for another guy from my hometown named Tyrese Haliburton. He's a NBA guard who plays for the Sacramento Kings. He's in his second year. His jersey is getting retired at his high school in our hometown tonight. So me and my friend Emil are going to record the whole ceremony. Hopefully take some film photos along the way, but I'm not really sure what the whole night will entail. It looks like there's gonna be a lot of people going to this ceremony, so it'll be interesting, and I'm gonna take you guys along for the journey. So I scooped my friend Emil from his parents' house and we headed to Oshkosh North. We got there 3 or 4 hours early just to make sure we could set up, kind of plan out what we wanted to shoot for the shoot, and ultimately just scope out the area so when Tyrese did show up, there was no second questioning the location or anything. After shooting some simple basketball shots around the gymnasium, we headed down the hall to the auditorium where we were actually gathering to meet Tyrese and the rest of the Kings players. One thing I noticed all around the school was how decorated it was with Tyrese. Seeing as I think he's the only NBA player to come out of this school, obviously they're very proud and still have all the accolades he got for them. So we got to the auditorium and we're waiting for the Kings players, and we actually found this really cool looking set of seats that remind me of like a 70s like pit classroom, or yeah, I guess just like some 70s auditorium. Tyrese finally did show up. At this point, he was still on the Kings, but showed up a little bit earlier than the rest of the Kings players did. They were just coming off a road trip, so they flew into Milwaukee, drove about an hour and a half north to Oshkosh, and then were playing the Bucks the following day. It was pretty interesting seeing him interact with a lot of these more veteran players, seeing as Tyrese is only in his second year and is still a very young player. He's definitely proven himself with his game and his allegiance to not only his team, coaches, but his teammates as well. So after he ate and got prepped a little bit, we actually headed to the local media room where he got briefly interviewed by the local news stations for probably only 5 to 10 minutes. We then headed back to the auditorium one last time and made our way towards the gymnasium as the varsity basketball game was wrapping up to begin the ceremony, to take our places with the cameras and get ready for the jersey retirement ceremony. The gym was honestly pretty packed with tons of parents and kids from his alma mater, people he grew up with, and a lot of local people just interested to see a NBA star. So as the Kings players got seated, we got ready, and Tyrese was ready to come on in. As he was walking in, Emil actually biffed it pretty bad and took quite a digger.
What the hell you doing?
We heard some brief speeches from his coach growing up as a little kid, and then his high school coach, emphasizing his work ethic and ultimately just respect for everyone. Tyrese then got on stage and shared some thoughts on his tenure at North and what Oshkosh means to him, which was cool to hear, as obviously this is my hometown as well. As he finished up speeches, a lot of the local people kind of crowded him and wanted to get an autograph or talk to him. And after some intermingling, we finally started to head back to the auditorium where it was more private. At this point, Tyrese pretty much just wrapped up the day, signed some autographs, met up with some old friends, took some photos, and ultimately just enjoyed being back at his alma mater. You could tell he definitely was the big man on campus, and he felt like it coming back, which was really cool to see him kind of in his own zone, especially with the rest of the Kings players being there to support him. After some final family photos, we wrapped up, headed back to our little janitor's closet to pack up the gear, and got ready to call it a night. And that pretty much does it. I was a little disappointed initially that I didn't take more film photos, but I think just this unique experience to be able to go capture it, regardless if it was on film or just on video, was super fun. Days after this happened, the Kings literally traded Tyrese to the Indiana Pacers, despite most of the fan base and myself thinking they were going to invest in him long term.
Welcome to Indiana.
Yeah,
Where's the last couple days?
With pros and cons on both sides, I'm excited for him to be closer to his home. Selfishly, for me to be able to see my friend Emil and to hopefully be able to shoot some more content like this in the future. I would really love to shoot an actual basketball game on film. I think getting a longer lens, getting some high sensitive black and white film and shooting from the floor would be super dope and reminiscent of a lot of these old photographers that I see from like the 70s and the 80s that shot all these old historic games, obviously on film. I'm also excited because I feel like the Pacers have a better franchise for Tyrese to build around and more young assets that complement him versus the Kings. Otherwise, I think that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like to see more I guess just different content like this in the future, not even specifically just sports content, but maybe highlighting a person or like a specific location or business or something. One thing that I've been really perusing in my head is going to like a ranch out west and shooting like cowboys and the whole ranching life. I think that would be pretty dope. But I'm getting on a tangent. Until the next video, guys, thank you so much for watching. Peace out.